Hey, good morning, everybody. First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich with your update on Michael. Let's get right to the graphics. We'll show you what's going on this morning with the system. It's gaining strength. Now winds 100 miles per hour here in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. You could see the loop this morning, sunrise over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. At times, an eye was trying to form, but you can see right now it looks like that's cloud cover. Hurricane hunters have been out there. They find the storm is getting a little bit stronger, but it's also battling a little bit of wind shear. It's funny, it's actually fighting less shear than it did last night, but it's actually struggling more than it did last night. So it's kind of interesting setup. It's also fighting a little bit of dry air. There is some dry air in the western Gulf of Mexico, which is trying to get pulled into it. And it's moving fast. Remember yesterday I said fast-moving systems tend to produce shear in and of themselves, which is always problematic. Let's get right to the track real quickly here. I'll show you the track, and you can see not a lot of change. This has been pretty consistent, and don't expect a lot of change in this forecast track. The steering currents are really straightforward. It's fast moving. You're only going to see subtle changes in the track. So I actually put the center line on there because we're really confident it's going to be somewhere within this narrow cone. You could see making landfall right here, somewhere around Panama City, tomorrow afternoon, like 1 p.m. So you're looking at winds of 120 miles per hour. Now, it could be slightly weaker than that, but it doesn't really matter. The impacts don't change that much. It's going to be around 110, 115, 120-ish. The storm surge, definitely a big issue all along the coast here, even down into here. This area in particular, well east of the center, just goes to show you, focusing on the track's a little dangerous. Big time surge, almost down to Tampa. Then it moves in over southern Georgia, and this is at 1 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning. Winds will be down to 60 miles an hour. Then it's moving between Columbia and Charleston and maybe south of areas around Fayetteville as we go into Thursday afternoon. And by Friday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's already re-emerging off the coast of North Carolina and Virginia near Norfolk. So you could see Charlotte is on, and the whole western Carolinas, we're on the far western side of the envelope here. The worst weather is going to be down in here and right along the track. So I actually think for the most part, Charlotte's going to be in a pretty good position overall, and then the system moves away. So the big story here, this is a fast-moving hurricane. It is going to be moving maybe 25 to 30 miles per hour once it moves inland, if not faster. The reason we're pretty confident in all that, and it's really easy to see, steering currents are just straightforward. There's not a lot of mystery here. You can see the big trough digging in all the way down into Mexico. The southwest winds are already developing. The high pressure, which has been baking us, is actually moving away. The winds are coming out of the southeast already in our area. So this flow is pretty much established. In fact, if you look at the high-level clouds, you can see how they're getting pushed up, and sometimes you can see these little systems ahead of it. These are like tracers in the water or dye that you put into like the flow. It shows you what's going on with the flow. It's moving in that direction. As this gets closer, this northeast component's going to strengthen, especially as the high moves away. So this is a pretty straightforward forecast as far as where it's going, location, speed, all that. The only really question mark is how strong or not strong does it get before landfall. There's certainly an opportunity for some intensification, but I'm also not going to be shocked if it has struggles today because it's battling this dry air off to the west, and also because it's starting to move so fast, it's actually just, that speed in and of itself causes the storm to struggle just a little bit. So as far as timing, I showed you this graphic yesterday. I made an updated one for the Charlotte area, Piedmont, South Carolina, everybody kind of in my viewing area. I'll talk more about other locations here in a minute, but you can see the main timeline is Wednesday night into Thursday afternoon. So I think a window of about 2 a.m. Thursday morning to about 3 to 4 p.m. Thursday afternoon is kind of the window we're looking at for the worst weather, at least across the Charlotte area and most of the Piedmont of the Carolinas. So let's look at actual wind speeds here for the Charlotte area. You notice most of the wind gusts forecast are around 30 miles an hour, maybe 25. Higher winds certainly off to the south and east. These areas could see wind gusts to 40 or 45 miles per hour. Now, as far as rainfall is concerned, certainly going to see some heavy rainfall. Generally 2 to 4 inches in this area, but there's going to be a swath somewhere along the track. And again, this could shift in this direction with a subtle shift in the track of 4 to 6 inches. Now, that amount falling in a 6-hour window could be a problem. And I do anticipate we're going to have some flash flooding. The combination of that wind and rain also is more than likely going to bring down some trees and power lines. So when you saw my forecast graphic here, you can see I do have power outages and some high winds Thursday morning into the afternoon hours. That is certainly a distinct possibility. So let's look at those wind speeds across all of the Carolinas, and you can see the higher wind gusts likely along the coast. This area from Columbia down to Charleston, and then from Fayetteville up to Elizabeth City area. You're going to see gusts of maybe 45 or 50 miles per hour. Then the coastal sections, we certainly could see gusts approaching, 60 to 70 miles an hour. That's a distinct possibility because this is going to be moving mainly inland, but a lot of the circulation will be offshore. So these winds near the coast will be really strong. On the west side, you could see how weak the winds will likely be up in here. They'll be coming from the northwest eventually as the front moves in. So all in all, the winds aren't a huge deal. There'll be a quick in and out wind, but with the trees and the wind, there's going to be some that come down. So real quickly, here's the rainfall for the Carolinas. So you can see the areas of greatest concern: central North Carolina, eastern North Carolina, right in there. Now again, I could see this shifting to the east a little bit. Just depends if the track shifts a little bit, because this is basically saying the track is going to be somewhere in here. And I think somewhere there will be a swath of very heavy rain. In fact, we've seen most of our area put into this moderate to high risk for flash flooding. This area in red that you see there, this is for Thursday. This is now there's a 15% chance within this red area of seeing flash flooding. So this is the area we're watching. This could shift a little this way or this way depending on the track. The yellow area is, a 10% chance of flash flooding, and the green area is a 5% chance of flash flooding. So these are like severe weather outlooks. They're basically showing you the probability of flash flooding. So there's a 15% chance of flash flooding in that area in red. So again, there's a quick look at the storm. We can go in closer. You can see the radar picking up on the eastern side next to our land-based radars. And you can see the circulation right there. So as it gets closer to the coast today, we will start to see these outer bands get in here. The one thing that we'll watch for our area also is any of this rain, this mess out here ahead of it. If this starts to develop into a more consistent band tomorrow, that could lay the groundwork for more of a flash flood threat on Thursday. But honestly, a pretty straightforward forecast. It's kind of rare that we've got such an easy forecast with this storm, but it's, there it is. It's pretty much laid out. Let me pop it back up real quickly. Right there, pretty straightforward, flying up to the northeast and should be long gone with cool air moving on the backside. Of course, I'll be posting updates. I'll post a lot of these graphics as well to my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as we go throughout the day.